Hello and welcome to ABW Live. Another win. Wow, I can't get over it. How are we, people? It's FA Cup weekend and a very different one to what we're used to, obviously. But hey, we're winning. Nothing much wrong with that. First in the and how unprofessional. I mean, I'm not on mute on my YouTube. First in the chat was a bag of dicks. Then we had MJL. Then we had Tom Douglas, Joshua Page, Danny's in there, Alonso Spencer's in there. How you feeling, Alonso? Hope you're well, mate. And 235100. Josh is in there. Basti LZ's in there. Thunder Road. Julian Salmon, David Marr, Daniel Kupka, Brian. Thunder Road, you're not wrong. And Brian's in there. Kyan Jackson, all the way from Jamaica. Hiya, Kyan, how are you? Paul Alvis is there. Hello, one and all. FA Cup weekend. Let's introduce you straight to my panel tonight. First of all, well, he's just the left to my right. It's Josh Daw. Say hello, Josh.
Hello, Josh. It's nice to be. It's nice to be on with our next guest because, well, he's normally on when we lose. To be fair, but I think we're so bad now that he only comes when we win.
Well, to be fair, okay, let's introduce him, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, he hasn't been on for a while. It's Tramp off the street. Put your hoodie back on. You look like you jumped around a bag of chips there. It's John Welsh. Say hello, John.
Hello, John. I'm back.
Hey!
I'm back.
How are you, pal?
I'm good. Tired. It's my day off, but yes, it's nice to get a win at last. I was dreading it. Yeah.
I tell you what, pal, I've forgotten what this is like. You know, it's been so long. You know.
So have I, mate. I honestly, this morning when I woke up, I thought, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Can I still do this? I don't know how to do this anymore. But yeah, we won. It's easy. I don't have to say it. We could just say we won. That's fine.
It's nice, isn't it? This is the first time in a long time I'm not going to be playing all by myself. Right, let's get straight into it, guys. We're going to keep it as short as possible tonight. And a couple of things before we start. Big thanks to Chris for doing Thursday. I really like the way he did the show, and so we're going to try to follow that sort of setup. He did a great job. It's nice to have him back. He's the guy who really pushed the live shows forward from the beginning. He's put so much work into it, so it's great to have him back. A mate of mine, guys, has moved out to Perth in Australia. Krunal at Doug Judy is living out there, and he's looking for an Arsenal group to watch games with, etc. So I don't know if anybody goes to the Boozer in Perth or anything, but if you can get in touch with us, or get in touch with Krunal. He's at Doug Judy. He's a good lad. He loves the Arsenal, and he's bloody good company. So, yeah, there you go. And a shout out to you, Krunal, because you're a top man. John, first to you, mate. I tell you what, this used to be every week, at least once a week, and now...
This is the longest extended period I think I've ever had off. Honestly, I feel like I'm Mesut Ozil. I'm getting paid the big bucks, but just never turning up.
What can I say? A bag of dick says, Perth, that's my neck of the woods. Right. I'll have to get you in touch with them. I'll do that later, pal. Thank you very much. Brendan Almeida's there, and Rudy Rastos, and Mike Hurts. The gang's back together. I said the band's back together. I'm loving this. John, no Ozil, no Guendouzi, three at the back. Talk to me.
I wasn't too surprised with the three at the back. David Luiz was back available again. I thought he'd come back in. I know people don't like him, but under Arteta, for the most part, barring his blips, has been one of our better players. I think he works better in a free. No Guendouzi doesn't surprise me, but there's clearly something going on in terms of his attitude or whatever else it is. I think he's a decent player. I don't think he's as good as he hypes himself up to be. And maybe in the future he will be. That's great. But Arteta came in and he had a very clear rule of this is the way we do things. This is how Arsenal should be, seen publicly and privately. And if you're not going to get on board with that, then you're out of the squad. Fair enough. Ozil apparently has a back injury. It's an away game, so I didn't expect him to turn up anyway. Does he have a back injury? He might do. Honestly, I don't care. I'm beyond caring at this point. If I won the Euro Millions this week and it's enough money, I'd go and buy his contract out and fuck him off. Honestly, go play in Turkey or wherever it is you want to go. I've had enough of him. I'm bored of the conversation, honestly.
It's a strange one, isn't it? It's a,
yeah.
I mean, the Guendouzi business, it blows my mind, you know. You can't be that bang average and have that much of an ego. You just can't.
Yeah. I think the other thing with the lineup today, barring those two exclusions from it, was we haven't got a lot in midfield right now, so you have to compensate for that in some way. I think having three at the back also was a nod to the fact that, you know, Sheffield are very good in the air. They're good from set pieces. Having an extra, although it was Kolasinac playing as a centre back, he's big enough. He's got that aerial presence, and also trying to get that, slowly develop that, you know, partnership between Saka and Tierney, which is something we hopefully be, you know, seeing going forward into next season as long as Saka signs up. You really want to get that partnership going as quick as you can.
Absolutely, pal. Absolutely. There's two comments on the chat box I'm just going to read out. And 235100 says, I assume that furloughed usually means something else to John Welsh. That's brilliant. And the other one's Richard Morris. Ozil back injury. It's a laid back injury. Josh, over to you. The formation. Talk to me.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting to see us pick three at the back. Although, to be honest, when I first saw the lineups, you could have worked out, I think, if we were going to play four at the back, you could have made a team there with it. We've got such a, it's like John has said, we've got a problem in midfield. We've also got a lot of players that can play there. It might not be their best position, but we can kind of chop and change. And I saw against, especially Brighton, where we got caught out a couple of times against very tactically astute managers that changed the formation mid-game, you know, without making substitutions, that we kind of got caught out. So I think having, you know, you could easily see where Kolasinac could slot into maybe a back four or go even up to left wing and see Saka move into the midfield more in that kind of term. But it was interesting to see what Arteta was doing. You saw Kolasinac coming really high up the pitch next to Xhaka for a lot of the game, which is kind of surprising from that kind of thing. You don't really see centre-backs move that kind of way unless you're looking at, to be honest, our opponents, Sheffield United, with their underlapping centre-backs that they didn't necessarily deploy until later in the game. But yeah, I think it was interesting to see, try and give us a bit more steel in midfield. Xhaka and Willock there, and Luiz being able to come in as well. So yeah, it was interesting to see how we actually lined up, because as I say, I was completely unsure of what we could see just from the team sheet.
Absolutely, pal. It was, you know, you looked at it, and that back three won't have played together before at all. You know, you look at Tierney's, regathering his fitness and his confidence back. AMN's back and wing back for the first time in a while. You know, you got
So I was going to say, the thing about a three at the back though is Kolasinac, Luiz, and Mustafi would have played, but had a right back with them. And to be honest, most of our right backs are pretty attacking and pretty shocking defensively. So Mustafi's probably used to not having cover from his right back in the form of Bellerin, Maitland-Niles, or to come Cedric Suarez, who again will probably go down the long list of right backs that don't cover the centre back. Sorry.
It does make me laugh sometimes. Maybe don't cover any. You know, I thought midweek. You know, I thought Pepe was shocking. The poor Hector, he didn't have a hope. Okay, but you know, that's the way we are. And I was a bit concerned about Willock as one of the two, because, you know, he's had a tough second half of the season. He started off great, but it's gotten tougher. Quick shout out, Yvonne Kofor's in the box. Yvonne, you're one of my favourites. It's great to have you back in there. Cyan Vesh, Oscar Arias, Kelly Duel Guna, NN Guna. You know, I love this chat box. It's magnificent. John, game starts off, we were okay. but bloody hell, we can see the corner earlier on, and Norwood to McBurney to Lundstrom, and they score. Thankfully, though, they're offside. It's well worked by them. Better teams than us will concede that goal, if you know what I mean. Better defences than ours will concede that goal. But it was a bit of a worry, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you knew going into the game, set pieces, long balls were always going to be their most likely avenue to score. And the thing is, if you don't win the first header, it's so important that everyone tracks their man properly. And I'm not trying to throw him under the bus because I know people have already had a go at me on Twitter for not being Pepe's biggest fan, but I think it's him who loses his man who scores the goal. And then Lacazette is sort of coming back from the front post. We've got no one on the post either, which in the end helped us out because otherwise it would have been onside. And they just kind of get lost in the model when the ball gets put back across. I'm not going to blame, I think it was Xhaka who got out-muscled for the header. Look, they're a really, really good team in the air. They're very strong aerially.
They're well drilled, aren't they?
Yeah, very, very strong aerially. And sometimes look, you can't win every single header. I actually thought defensively from headers the majority of the game, not every set piece, but the majority of the game we actually dealt with it quite well. But if you lose that first header, you've got to react to the second ball, and we were just slow to react to it. No blame on the keeper. It's the other players around it, that second movement, which is something we've been guilty of a lot of the time. Not just this season, but the last few seasons, to be honest. I think actually we've got quite a good record from set pieces. I know it doesn't feel like that because I always look at those stats and go, really? But I think like last season we had one of the best defensive records in the league from set pieces, or like second best other than Liverpool.
We were superb. We didn't have a goal in from a corner until kind of the last 5-6 games. Okay?
Yeah.
But what we were doing last season really well, you'd have Lucas Torreira, for argument's sake, marking the main threat, okay, which I always found frustrating. But, he's not there trying to muscle in. He's just been a nuisance. And we kind of aren't as smart. We haven't been as smart as we were last season with that, have we?
No, it's a little bit disappointing, but you've got to think, I think Josh said this on the main pod the other week, that these players have gone through a transition period of having Arsene Wenger for a very long time. Then you get in Unai Emery, who wants to play a totally different way, which means everything's got to be relearned, and they clearly didn't like it. Then Freddie's in for a bit with no coaching backup, and then Arteta comes in, and then you have this corona, the pandemic happen, and just everything's in the air. So it's a lot to take in and try and change the whole way you play. And we just... There's not a lot of confidence in the team defensively. You can see sometimes they still get nervous when they've got the ball or when they're passing it out from the back and things like that. So you've got to take your time with it. But yeah, it's a good ball in. He wins the header well. They react quicker than we do, which is our own fault. But thankfully for us, it's offside, and VAR actually did what it's supposed to do.
There's a great point. Sorry, Chase. There's a great point in the chat box from Marcus Hodges as well. It's credit for the guys for holding the line. Yeah. I think that's something we don't appreciate enough. We've just gone, we got lucky there because VAR's there and we're offside. No, we meant to play that offside line. That's not the only goal that they got disallowed for offsides. We're quite good at holding our line, and we've been quite good for it for a couple of seasons.
And building on top of that as well, okay, even the best defences in the land get lucky. Do you know what I mean? And so, yes, okay, we'll come on to the goal we conceded, but I thought there were some brilliant last gasp blocks and stuff like that. I thought, John put in the box, Mustafi's going to Mustafi it up again. I thought Mustafi had a great game. Defensively, he saved us on a couple of occasions. When Rob Holding was, Luiz played well. Yes, a bit hairy and scared him at times, but they coped. And we've won at the end of it. But one thing I want to build on from John's point, Josh, and it kind of comes nicely on, we look nervous. And I think a lot of that is down to our lack of movement. We're static and we're slow. Our midfield doesn't give our back four, back three, whatever it is, options to pass to all too often. And that seems to go down the line throughout the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it kind of stems from having a different goalkeeper as well. Of all of the players from the back, the defensive unit, we'll say, including the goalkeeper, the one I was most nervous when they were on the ball wasn't Mustafi, wasn't David Luiz. Kolasinac, maybe if he had to use his right foot, but it was Emi Martinez for me. I was just a little bit nervous when he had the ball. Every so often, you're just like, oh, what's he going to do? Is he going to Cruyff turn? He's going to do something stupid, isn't he? He feels like he's got the liability-ness of Wojciech Szczesny.
But the thing with Martinez that made me laugh during that game was, like, I think it got to about half time, and so like I have a quick scroll through Twitter, and everyone's going, "Wow, Martinez distribution, and everything else," and he made some amazing passes. And then second half, you just saw that completely fall to bits, and you were like, "Oh god!" And a couple of times when he was passing to Xhaka, and it's like you're passing to a guy who's got two like strikers either side of him within 2 yards. You're like, "Oh Jesus Christ, don't do that!"
He also had the benefit of playing into the wind. In the first half,
that wind was so strong, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
the wind's so strong, you know. But when he went in the second half when he made that pass, it was like a fucking Bugs Bunny movie. What? You know what I mean? Oh,
yeah. I was like, Xhaka's running in because Arteta's told him to run in, and that's where he should be picking the ball up. But you're just like, oh, Martinez, you're not playing FIFA. No one's got reactions quick enough to lay a pass off and play that. But I think that's where the nervousness kind of, for me, came from, and whether or not that emanated through the side. But as you say, if Xhaka's dropping deep to pick up the ball and Luiz and Mustafi are going out wide, then it's only Joe Willock and Tierney sticking out wide, Maitland-Niles sticking out wide. It's kind of up to him and Willock and Saka to drop in and try and pick that ball up from, or Lacazette, as we saw mainly through the first half, getting fouled on the halfway line.
The one thing that kind of annoys me is, at any set piece, whether it be throw-ins, whether it be playing at the back or whatever, you're not having somebody drop deep, as you say, and somebody stretch the other way. You're not creating those mismatches. You're not creating any space, and it really is a bit of an issue. But we move on. John, I'm coming here specifically for you. We see an awful Joe Willock corner. I mean, when you got Pepe, who's got such quality from dead ball, and I was really disappointed in that. Followed up by Lacazette winning a penalty for us. Steve McMahon, I don't know what he was doing what he was watching in the commentary box, but he just wasn't watching the same game I was. Tried his best to say we didn't deserve it, but it was a clear penalty. And Pepe, oh my God, he can dead ball. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, the Willock thing, just quickly, I didn't understand why he took that corner. It was really because I think he's the only one he took the whole game. It didn't make any sense to me, but I just thought immediately, corner, cool, Pepe's going to put a good ball in. As much as I've moaned about him since he signed, his corner delivery's been fantastic. But yeah, just good play. Tierney gets the ball, finds Lacazette. He does the thing that he has at least kept consistently good at. Since the last season, is with his back to goal and trying to hold the ball up, and wins a penalty. I don't think there's any argument about it. I wasn't watching the BT coverage, or if I had it, or if I did have the BT coverage, I didn't get to see Steve McManaman. I saw over Twitter that he was moaning, so I just assumed like normal Scouser nonsense.
Yeah.
It's probably because someone was talking about a different football club for the day and not talking about Liverpool smashing their own cities of shit. But Scousers. But yeah, it's a really good penalty. I was a little bit surprised, I'll be honest, that the keeper didn't get closer to it because I've watched him this season and he looks a really good goalkeeper.
He had a word apparently at half time. He was moaning at his goalkeeping coach because they told him which way to go, and there must have been something said. I don't know. Parliament was talking about it in the commentary, but if he'd have gotten to that, because it was right in the corner, wasn't it?
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting him to get it. It was just like when Pepe stood there, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, he's going to go bottom right, left-footed. He's going to go that way. Just the way you see him hit the ball, and he always sort of curls it, and he always goes away from his body and stuff. And I just thought, oh, he's going to go bottom right. This is a decent keeper. He might get to this if you don't bang it straight in the corner. But like, great penalty. Put it exactly. Basically, you've got to be Stretch Armstrong to get to that. Yeah, I was a bit surprised by the keeper, so I can understand why he's had to go at his coach. But a little bit against the run of play, probably. Maybe wasn't quite what we deserved. I thought, Sheffield United had kept it fairly even and probably created the better chances. But I was like, yeah, we'll take that. Just the way things are going at the moment, you just need a bit of luck or someone to make something out of nothing. Lacazette, won the penalty, and I thought, okay, 1-0 up. Maybe because Sheffield United lost a couple of games since they've come back, they haven't been the side they were earlier in the season. Might just give us a little bit of confidence. I just thought maybe get a second goal if you can. If not, get through to half time and we should be okay.
Yeah. Josh, any other points on the goal?
No, not really. I think John covered most of it. I could have a McManaman rant, but I think I'll save that for later.
Yeah, save for later, pal. Following the goal, you just see it. We grew in confidence. You saw Henderson make a great save from Pepe after some good work from Lacazette. You saw Fleck having to take out Laka and get himself a yellow. But Tierney was the guy for me. He was stretching that left-hand side. And when he was putting crosses in, my God, they were dangerous, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't know what's more exciting about Tierney, the fact he can put a decent cross in or the fact that he seems to be the only wide player other than Saka who'll take his man on. I haven't seen... It's ridiculous when your left back is the best at one-on-ones in your entire squad, because I'll be damned to hell did I see a £72 million Pepe take a player on in the first half. It was ridiculous.
He runs his channels as well, doesn't he? Pepe, not Pepe, sorry. Tierney, he's away with the fairies, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's gone. He is flying down that wing. He's putting in dodgy tackles. He's got the sense of awareness that kind of comes from, being an underdog. The biggest games that Tierney has played in his career has been as an underdog for Celtic. Other than the Old Firm, which they just generally spent 9 seasons just bang away Rangers. He'd be playing in the Champions League. It's against the Barcelonas, the Bayern Munichs. They're playing big sides, and he knows how to play those big games. He's got all of the things in his locker to kind of one-up yourself and get that slight advantage over any opponent. And it's what we kind of need in the squad, is that kind of player.
I just so impressed with him. He was forcing United into defending really well. There was I can't remember which one of the defenders. He put one cross in. He was the stretch and the challenge from the defender had to be absolutely perfect because the quality of the cross was superb. Before we go on to you, John, I'd like to wish Viking Legend Gaming. I hope you get the clap, mate. You're a bit of a dick coming in the chat box and giving it large now. So, go to hell. Take that. Sorry, John. That's better. Oh, that's off my chest now. I can carry on, enjoy. You see McBurney and Willock have a head clash. Off that looked nasty.
Yeah, no intent from either player. They're both just running, and it's just an accidental thing. It's probably the only thing the referee got right in the game. I thought he was awful, not just for us, but for both teams. Some of the free kick decisions he made for either side were really bizarre, and some of the non-bookings that he didn't do. But he actually got that one spot on. And so I think there was another head injury as well later in the game that he blew up for. Those things he was getting spot on. And I'm really glad to see that sort of thing is getting sorted out by referees now, and they're getting the medics on. Thankfully, everyone was okay. But yeah, that's the instant. I don't care if you got a chance to score a goal or you're about to get tapping or whatever. Players' health comes first. And if they're all right afterwards, it's just tough shit. That's the thing you got to be dealing with.
I got to be honest here. You looked at it, and as you say, both players, eyes on the ball, no intent from anyone. And McBurney, I know from the boys used to watch him down at the Swans last season. They loved him. Hard as nails. He would put his head where it hurts. But you saw Willock, because he's a big lump. McBurney is. You saw Willock. He was like a car crash for him. And as you say, the referee wasn't very impressed. He's another Tierney as well. Wasn't very impressed with him, but he got that spot on, and thankfully everybody's all right. Josh, the rest of that half, we see Martinez making some good saves. You see Pepe taking people on. He actually ran a channel. Unfortunately, the Willock ball got cut out, but he went to run the channel. We were on top, weren't we?
Yeah, we started to see I think the goal gave Pepe confidence, and he started to look like that player that some may have seen at Lille, where he looked like he had a bit more fight in him. There were still a couple of occasions where I think that his decision-making could have been better, but for the first part of that first half, it was just like having a kicker from NFL. He was pointless anywhere else but from a set play. We weren't getting anything out of him. But as soon as, he got that kind of confidence, I think we'll slowly see him kind of build in confidence next season. But he's now up, 16 or 17 goals and assists?
I think it's 16 or 17, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's around that number. So it's a decent return in his first season.
He's
done it. It's a good return, but he's done it kind of unspectacularly. We used to say about Mesut Ozil as well, that he'd do everything without flair. And it's weird to see such a prolific winger have very little kind of flair to his game. Yeah, he's got some nice touches when the ball's at his feet, but he doesn't use that flair to get past a player or doesn't do anything extravagant. It's all quite mechanical from him.
John,
I know what Josh is. Sorry, Jason.
I want your opinion on it anyway.
I get totally what Josh is saying, because I'm waiting for that game, the first one where he gets the ball and it's on the halfway line. He knocks it past the player, runs past them, and nutmegs one and takes around another one and then puts it in the top corner. Because you can see he can do it. It's not like he has. It's so obvious he's got the talent and the ability, and you can watch the videos at Lille and stuff. And obviously, this Arsenal team is different to the Lille team. He's playing a different setup. It's not the same system he's used to. But like so many games I've seen him play, and like the Brighton game where he had the fullback on toast and he could have got around him every single time. I just wanted to get the ball and just go, just run at the player, just do that. And hopefully, like I said when we signed him, I was like, I'm going to be annoyed when he doesn't do what I want him to do, but I'm going to wait until his second season. So the same thing with players like Pires, Gilberto, there's a long list of them who take their time to adjust to the Premier League. And I hope that next season, we really see what he can do. Because he's clearly got it all in his locker. He can do it all.
I just want to hear a commentator say Pepe's on his bike at least once. I want to hear that kind of cliched bit of commentary from him, and just want to hear about your pacey winger saying he's on his bike, he's gone, and someone playing a ball in. He might not get there, but I want to see him put on the afterburners.
And that's the point you want to bring up. Khalid Gooners put in the box here. Pepe didn't have that many passes to him against Brighton, but he's just stood there. He's static. He's not making any space for himself. He's not offering himself, and he's not running the channel. So everybody's slagging off Hector. Hector's got no options because Ceballos has been just as fucking lazy inside him. The only option he's got, the only guy who's making himself free is Mustafi. And Pepe's playing statues. But when you look at the talent the guy's got, it's exceptional, isn't it? But like Josh says, and he's away, he's gone, he's down the channel, then you've got the option.
I think the other thing today as well is that he benefited from that back three playing. Like he did get back and he tracked back and he put a really good tackle in actually in the second half and won us a goal kick running the corner. But in that setup, he doesn't have to go with his man as much. It helps that Sheffield United played the similar system as well. But because he's got that freedom to stay a bit higher up the pitch, and because he's Maitland-Niles, because we were playing with a wing back, he would run outside him sometimes, or he would run and make that space for him. And he also had Willock coming on that right-hand side to help him a bit more, because I think when we were playing Xhaka, Guendouzi and Ceballos, they're very, or Saka even in a midfield three, they're all very left side minded. So that right side of the pitch, there wasn't a lot at all to get to him, which really doesn't help his game. So I think today you saw a lot more of that option. And also the other thing, like Josh was saying about the system, we saw before where Xhaka would sort of drop into a back three and then Saka would go wide and he'd be our widest player. Saka was coming in the side a lot more today, even though he was ostensibly playing wide, and Tierney was the big overlap, who was fantastic again today. So it just opens up a lot more channels for him. And having someone like Xhaka, who I know people don't like, but if you've got someone like Pepe who can run, if we turn a team quickly, and you saw it in the second half for a couple of counter-attacks, get the ball to Xhaka and then let him play it into the channel for Pepe to run onto, he's going to cause absolute havoc.
This is the thing, it's just these guys getting on the same page. You know, I've got to be honest with you, I think Pepe's got so much talent about him. You know, if he can turn that into influencing the game, you know, his goals and assists so far this season have been great. If he can get him on the ball more, if he can show himself more, I think one or two, you know, runs here and there. And, you know, even, you know, with good players, they're running the channel just to make the defender think so often, you know. You don't need to expect the ball. You've just got to have the defender on his toes. And I want to see more of that from him.
That also, just quickly, Jace, that if you start scaring a team with one side of yours, so if it is our right side, because of someone like Pepe, it immediately opens up your left flank to get in more. Because the team's going to overcompensate. They're going to go, well, I can't push my fullback this side because Pepe's there and I need to cover defensively. So their right-sided fullback is naturally going to come forward, which leaves space for players like Saka, like Tierney to get in behind. And they're like, and it just puts them horribly on a back foot and the defence really doesn't know what to do.
It's this thing, isn't it? You know, you want to create overloads, you know, and the best way to create overloads is working hard, is making the runs, it's drawing players out of position. You know, how often have we seen a back four just sit there heading balls out or just, you know, standing strong and we can't get through it? Well, if you've got players like Tierney, Pepe, you know, Saka, pulling players out of position, it's a hell of a lot tougher to do that. Josh, one thing I want to bring up here now before we end the first half. There's a clear shirt pull on Luiz at free kick in the penalty box. You can clearly see it. Not given, ignored. VAR doesn't get involved. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I was slightly annoyed about it. But if I look at the game as a whole, Danny Ceballos is very lucky on a tackle on Ollie McBurney in the second half. We'll say tackle. It kind of happens, doesn't it? In that kind of thing. And that's the way that...
the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way that the ref wanted to ref the game. And if he gave that one there and we get something out of it, then I would be completely happy with him. Well, not completely happy. But I'd see why, in terms of consistency, we kind of get one against us later in the game. But otherwise, yeah, nothing hugely to it. It was quite a rough game, generally. I think there were certainly people mentioning it was a bit like getting Stoke flashbacks in some of the pieces of play that we saw from Sheffield United. I
thought it was physical, okay? There were a couple of challenges, and you know, there was one where the guy came off his ground, I think it was Fleck, and he picked up the yellow card. I thought that was a bit dirty. You know, there was one in Xhaka as well, but on Lacazette, sorry. But I didn't feel it was a dirty game. You know, the push by McBurney in the second half. You dirty cunt, McBurney! What are you doing? You know, there's no need for that. And for Tierney to leave that goal, I thought that was criminal. That was terrible. John, that's the first half. The biggest concern is Ozil, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought most of the balls into the box we dealt with really well. I thought Mustafi, he made me nervous a couple of times. I think there was just like twice where he just took his eye off the ball and he's been past him and he wasn't necessarily under pressure, but he just let it run and then would react afterwards. And I just thought, just keep it together, Mustafi, because other than that, you've actually had a really good game. You've been winning headers, you've been winning tackles, you've been passing out nicely. I thought Luiz was very good, consistent. Kolasinac, you could see he was a little bit iffy, especially on his right foot. Like Josh said, I didn't really want him to have the ball at the back too much unless he was passing it out to Tierney. But I thought for the most part we did well with it. I thought although Willock and Xhaka in the midfield too is going to be suspect in most games, this time I thought it worked out fine. They were covering each other. Xhaka was getting the ball in space and Willock was doing all the running for him, so that was great. We lacked a little bit creatively and it looked like, other than obviously the penalty we got, I thought the only way we were probably going to get in was with Saka or Tierney. That looked like our best avenue to find a goal at that point. And I was a bit disappointed that players weren't smart enough or finishing the chances that Tierney was putting into the box, because some of his balls in were fantastic.
this is a problem we've continually had all season. I don't know how many times you've spoken about it. We never attack the box. We never attack the box, and it's an issue, Josh.
Yeah, I was going to say, to be honest, I kind of mentioned it earlier, how often have we had a player that can consistently put a decent ball into the box? I would understand if, to be honest, I've been Joe Willock and I've played under an Arsene Wenger system for years, that I get bored of trying to go and attack in the box because I know that my fullback's not going to put a decent ball in for me. And it's that kind of laziness that eventually will just work through, and we'll end up with those players like a Saka will make a late run into the box. We saw Pepe starting to ghost through the box when he kind of realised that, you know what, if Tierney's got the ball, he's actually going to put it in for me. The same way that Henry and Wright spoke about Dennis Bergkamp, that as soon as he's got the ball, I make whatever run I want where I think I'm going to score from. Bergkamp will put it into the position I need it to be. And it's that kind of thing. We've got to learn about that kind of chemistry within the side. And the more Tierney plays, the more we'll see, I think, just naturally our players attack the box because they know, there's a lesser chance we'll get caught on the break because we'll probably score instead, or get a corner, or just put it wide.
Yeah, there was one particular ball I was a little bit disappointed Pepe didn't hit the target with, and Tierney had Lacazette and Willock had broke in. Yeah, and they were near post, and Pepe made a brilliant run, ghosted into sort of the penalty spot, and Tierney picked him out perfectly. And the keeper probably had it covered because he's a very good goalkeeper. I think is he Man United? On loan, isn't he? Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, he didn't put it on target. But it's just oh, okay, we've got that now. He's got the ability to do the near post ball. He was doing first time balls. He was doing, now I'm going to take a touch, pull it back because I can see the run coming in. So that is really exciting going forward. Hopefully we can get it from the right-hand side as well, and you get it both sides.
To be fair, in that move, that was one of the few moments we did load the box, okay? And I think, you'll see Willock as he develops. He is a B2B. He is an attacking threat. He will get in the box. I thought you're a little bit harsh on Pepe on that one because that ball was travelling when he hit it. Do you know what I mean? And if he'd had the time...
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. It is a bit harsh, but I know he's got the ability to do it.
Yes, no.
He can't do it. He'll be disappointed himself. He didn't hit the target.
Yeah, and I think high expectations is fine. You know what I mean? I think that's really fine because it's what this team needs. But I think that there's some positives there as well.
Oh yeah.
Bit of a shout out, Stephen Mawawasi. He's from Kenya. He's in the box. Josh Dawes in the box. I've mentioned you already, Josh. Julian Salmon, David Keith. There's a couple of others I missed. Grant Riddlebourne's there. Luke Howard's there. William Struthers is there. John Bernstein. Hi, guys. How are we all? Second half, guys. Josh. United come out for us, don't they? They come out. They're going for us. They start off like a rat in the trap, and within 5 minutes we see Luiz go off injured. How are you feeling at that point?
Well, to be honest, my internet went down, so I turned it back on to the second half with David Luiz going off injured. Going, what's going on here then?
So, John, how do you feel about
that? I wasn't overly worried because I thought, like Josh said at the start of this, when I first saw the lineup, I was like, is this a back three or is it a back four? Because, Maitland-Niles can play midfield, he can play fullback. Tierney, we've seen, can play centre-back. We know Kolasinac can as well. And we had a lot of options. So I thought, okay, maybe we're going to rejuggle the system. But he decided to stick with the back three. Holding came on, which I thought I didn't have a huge issue with. I thought Holding was great in, who did we play last? Southampton. Yeah. I thought he was great in that game, so I had absolutely no issue with that at all. But yeah, they came out really, really well in the second half. We were a little bit too passive. The one issue with obviously playing two in the middle is that we're not going to keep it as long. But I think Arteta's whole plan in this game was Sheffield United are obviously very good defensively. They're very compact. So the only way you get at them and get an opportunity to score is to try and stretch them. So you want to use as much of the pitch as possible. So he's trying to keep that width. So I understand his game plan, but I think there maybe was an argument to either maybe you do shuffle it to a back four or you add an extra man in midfield and try and work some sort of tighter passing around them. But yeah, disappointed for Luiz because I thought he had a good game other than his, when he went off injured. I didn't think he'd put a foot wrong, to be honest.
No, I thought some of his passing was great. It was just disappointing. Josh, you'd have seen after that, Basham just heads wide. How he missed the target, I don't know. You see, the game's a bit back and forth. United are definitely on top, but both teams keep on making mistakes on the counter, don't they? Nobody's actually grabbing it by the scruff of the neck and taking advantage of good counter-attacking opportunities.
Yeah, this is the downside I think Sheffield United had, particularly with their system. When they bring those centre-backs up, yeah, it's great, as we saw with Basham. When you whip a cross in, you've got actually a really strong header of the ball in the right penalty box for you. You can put a decent chance on. But as we see with someone like, was it Enderseeve? No, it was Robinson, I think, that came up.
Yeah.
And just overhits his passes. That's what you don't get that from a midfielder or, like the Sander Berg or the John Lundstroms in that team that would be able to thread those kind of passes for them. So we got off a bit lightly from that regard. But I'd also say, how we were talking earlier about how we were keeping a good offside line. Again, there's a reason why they weren't getting in, because we were keeping that line solid. McBurney's not quick. McGoldrick wasn't quick. They couldn't get in behind us on that. They didn't want to take their chances because they knew we'd just catch them offside constantly. And it was like having that old back four in their place. It was like Winterburn, Dixon, Adams and Bold, just arms straight up every single time. They just didn't want to try and run in behind us because they knew it just wasn't going to bring any reward to them.
No, I think you bang on. On 66 minutes, we replaced Lacazette and Willock with Eddie and Danny Ceballos. We lacked control. We couldn't keep the ball. I thought Willock had a decent first half. Came off the ball in the second half. There's no shame in that. Lacazette worked hard, won the penalty, but we need him to score more goals. We need him to be more of a threat. And that's a bit of a concern at the moment, I think. But,
well, there's no point having him on the pitch and away from goal if you want to score a goal, Jace, is there? Because let's be honest, you don't score away from goal. You got more chance of Ozil turning up in the squad than Lacazette scoring a goal away from home.
I've been waiting for something. I
like Lacazette and I like his work rate and his effort, and he won the penalty and fair play to him. But the ball weren't sticking with him today. It weren't sticking. Sometimes someone's outplaying you, and I know people don't like stats, but goals and goal involvement. I think there's two 18-year-old unproven kids who have been more involved, played way less games than Lacazette this season.
John,
Saka and Martinelli.
John, it's easier to do in the League Cup than it is in the Premier League. Okay, but my point is, this has been going on for a while now with Lacazette. Yeah. It's been going on too long. What do we need to do to get him more involved in the game? How do we help him turn this around? That's the bigger question, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. It's not all on him because, let's be honest, us as a team this season have been garbage for the majority of it. And I don't want to moan today because we've won, but we have been really poor most of the season and we haven't been creating chances. And if you're a striker for Arsenal, it's got to be pretty miserable this season. Unless you're Aubameyang and, you sort of just get the ball when you go, oh, this team's a bit shit. I'll just have to do it myself and score a wonder goal or something, or get lucky and get a rebound. The problem is that whereas Aubameyang, I think, can get you something out of nothing or will score a goal regardless. He might need a few chances to score a goal, but he will get one. Lacazette is much more, at least to me anyway, he feels much more like a confidence player. If the team's playing poor, he's just going to get so few chances that if he gets one and he snatches at it and doesn't score a goal, he's going to go lower and lower down. But yeah, I thought he put in a good shift today. But to be honest, the way Nketiah has been playing, I didn't have a problem with the substitution at all. He brings a bit more energy. He's going to chase more. He knows Saka. There's some good link up there. Clearly, you can see it when they play together. They understand each other's runs. So, yeah, I didn't have an issue with the sub. Ceballos coming on, in the end he came good, but I'm not his biggest fan in the world. I thought Willock had a decent game as well, did go a bit off the ball in the second half. I thought, in general, Xhaka and Willock kind of disappeared in that second half, to be fair.
Willock seems to have a habit of only lasting 50 or so minutes. I'm sure our dear friend Steve would have said he's got a touch to the Iwobies of that regard.
A lot of blokes would love to do that.
Yeah.
Carry on. But this is the thing. With Lacazette, so I want your opinion on this. He misses runners from deep. He hasn't got them. He used to love to play off Ramsey. He'd love to play, when you used to get that little triumvirate, Ozil, Ramsey, Lacazette. He'd love to do that. He doesn't have that anymore, does he?
Well, no, but
I think
he had Willock today, didn't he, Josh? He was certainly making a lot of runs in the box.
Yeah, it wasn't like he's not got runners running off him. The thing that's changed is Lacazette has lost his scoring instinct. That's the difference. Is he's not as... We said it about, I think it was a tweet going around about Olivier Giroud. I think something Nicky kind of shared with us, and what was going on with and what you felt about Giroud. He didn't really have a scoring instinct, but how he brought other players in was what we kind of needed from him. The only way I saw Lacazette scoring a goal for us today would have been a half-turn kind of flick and smashing it from 35 yards, because he wasn't getting close enough to it. And I don't think it might be harsh to say, I don't think he's intelligent enough to be a fox in the box. He's a bit more of an all-rounder in that case. But yeah, I think the only real thing we can kind of see is, I think both of our big level strikers are going to go in the summer, to be honest. One because they're too good for us, and the other one because they're not good enough for us.
Yeah, well,
I think you look at Lacazette when he was playing really well. He'd receive the ball in the boxes back to goal, and he'd turn his man and shoot. And he's not doing that anymore. And yeah, it is not all on him. The team itself has not been creative enough. But he's getting a lot more runners now. He's getting Saka. He's got Willock. When Ceballos plays, he sometimes gets forward, but Pepe's starting to come more on his game. It's not like Aubameyang doesn't run off Lacazette and come in from wide to drag defenders and stuff. But yeah, it's not working out. Look, I think, like Josh said, I agree. At least one of those two is going, Lacazette or Aubameyang. Financially, for us, it probably makes more sense to get rid of Aubameyang than Lacazette. But if you, in terms of just wanting to keep goals, then yeah, bye-bye Lacazette. Sorry.
It's one of those, and there's Sam Ambush puts in the box, and we not over Ramsey yet. Well, we scored a second
Jason
goal.
Isn't. Sorry, let's answer that quickly.
Jason will never be over Ramsey.
Let's get rid of the elephant in the room.
But the other elephant in the room is we scored a second goal from midfield today, all season. And that's a fucking disgrace. That really is. Our midfield this season, there were people talking of buying Danny Ceballos for 30 million quid. Fuck me. I'm not being funny. Do you just burn money at home? Do you just spunk it up against the wall? Because every single one of our midfielders this season, and as much as I like some of them, they have flattered and deceived. They've been shameful in so many of the games. It's unbelievable. And when you're not getting goals from midfield, when you got Callum Chambers, who's got more of a goal return than your whole midfield, something's wrong. Something's rotten in Denmark. So let's go on to the goals. We see the McBurney push on Kolasinac. How the referee's done nothing about that, I don't know. My next note is I effing love Kieran Tierney. He's my next fanboy thing. Kieran Tierney's the next big thing. Man crush already. The kid is just superb. Brilliant.
It's almost like Jason has a thing for people who are descendants of like proper Celts. I don't know what it is. It's just, yeah. A proper Welsh boy in Ramsey. Then, a proper Celt, Glaswegian, proper nasty little boy, Tierney, who loves the thing I love about Tierney, only player in short sleeves. Everyone else turns up with a Gucci bag. He's got his Tesco's bag.
Simon's tweeted that was magnificent. That was just, I love you even more.
Yeah, he's great.
I think, the thing these guys have got in common, they play ambitious football. They go forward. They get into, they get up, they try to create things. Oh my God, if I see another sideways pass, I'm going to cut somebody's legs off. It's pointless. Some of the times we crab. That's why, you want to see Pepe on his bike, as Josh says. Play with a bit of ambition. Let's go forward. You attack by going forward, not by crossing, back and forth, etc. It's pointless. But, you saw Tierney. He is on his bike. He is getting forward. He's putting the ball in the danger areas, and we've got to match that ambition now as the rest of the team. And I hope we do.
I've got to immediately apologise so I don't get assaulted. I'm not saying that all Glaswegians are violent, but Tierney's actually was born on the Isle of Man, so I don't want to say he's not a proper Glaswegian. So anyone who's Glaswegian, please don't beat me up.
It's one of those things, isn't it? It's one of those things. It's just he's I just love players who play the bit of ambition. It's nice. Right, okay, let's get to the goal then. Who wants this one first? It's a corner. It should not have been a corner because you see Tierney make a perfectly good challenge. The referee gives a free kick. You then see Eddie get penalised for winning the ball cleanly in the opposition box. This is how bad a game the referee had today. It was absolutely embarrassing. But it's a flat throw, sorry. And whoever's taking those flat throws, my God, he got some power on them, didn't he? It wasn't your Rory Delap loop. It was like a Scud missile going across the place. And I'm not sure if the ball was too high for holding or if he ducked. But Kolasinac just buggers it up and McGoldrick jumps in it. Who wants it, lads?
I will also throw one of my favourite players in the team. I should know annoys people. Granit Xhaka under the bus a little bit because I don't know what the fuck he was doing in midfield before that to the build up to it. Oh dear. Their throw-ins today were a bit savage, weren't they, Josh? It reminded me of the video of, I can't remember who Stoke were playing, but whoever it was, the goalkeeper gets it, and you see him go to kick the ball out for a throw-in, and then he goes, "Oh no, fuck that," and kicks it out for a corner instead.
I don't know why I want to think it was Man United, but it's certainly someone in that kind of level where they're like, nah, screw this. It was kind of. I'm more annoyed about the Nketiah thing, so I kind of just missed what happened in their counter because I'm like, wait, what's going on? That's not a foul. I mean, Eddie's just. We've seen Lacazette do it, and he's got quite the large behind, so it's clearly like a bit of a wrecking ball going into his fellow defender when he turns around to block someone off. But Eddie's still like pretty slight, so I don't understand how that's given as a free kick so quickly as well. But yeah, just when it comes to the goal, I think the thing that's, I don't know, I'm not going to say most frustrating. I don't think Holding's at fault, to be honest, for it. The only reason he's at fault is purely because Kolasinac kicks the ball against him, and you can't legislate for having a retard in behind you. And yeah, what Kolasinac is doing there, I think that's the annoying thing, because you could see that, I don't know, when I saw that lineup come out, I had Kolasinac as the weak point in our defence. I know that's an odd point when people will look at it and you go, Mustafi, Luiz and Kolasinac, and you're going with the massive Serbian who will punch.
He again, earlier on in the game, okay, he just watched a runner in the box run off him. He's fucking watching it. Okay?
He is defensively inept. He always has been. But
you've got to remember, sometimes Kolasinac, his brain will switch off on the football, he'll be watching the ball, but actually what he's thinking about is who he's going to murder next with his bare hands. Or like when he was so angry he wanted to fight the sun at Southampton as he was sitting. But no, I think Cactus, our friend Cactus is in the chat. He put that he thinks the ball held up a little bit in the wind, which I think is why Holding, it looks like he's mistimed his jump slightly, because that wind was proper whipping about in the stadium as well. So I don't think that helped. But yeah, it's another sloppy goal to concede, and it is people switching off, and it's disappointing. But to be fair to Sheffield United, I think they at least deserve the equaliser in that, because they were well on top in the second half.
Do you know what? I actually didn't have an issue with the equaliser so much. It was just the way we let it in. You can see, now and again, you swing for the ball, it comes off the side of the foot. It wasn't anything like that. It was just we panicked, and I'm not sure if it's because due to holding, missing the header, or down to I'm not sure, but it was frustrating. But this is the really nice part of the podcast now, to get to praise somebody who I've had to give so much stick to this season. And
can I add one other thing as well? I'm just double checking the stats, but I'm 98% sure that was the first goal that McGoldrick has scored this season. And he's the striker. No, sorry, I lied. That is his second goal this season. Yeah. He got another one in the FA Cup, probably against someone like Cheltenham Town, but he has not scored in the Premier League this season. He has played all of their games.
So McGoldrick has as many goals as our midfield. Yes. Let's just remind everyone of that. Yeah. I love your eye for detail. Danny Ceballos, a player who I've slated. We see some really good work from Saka, Eddie. Ball comes to Pepe on the break. Okay, he's in the box. We've kind of messed it up at this point. He's got to come back. There's no clear pass on. Ceballos is coming up like a train. Takes the ball off him, drives, goes near post, beats Henderson. Oh, fucking la. What do you think of that, Mapples? Go on.
I was so shocked, honestly. When he picked the ball up off Pepe, I thought, he's going to run to the byline, and he's either going to try and do a little dink into the box, or he's going to turn around and go back to a fullback and slow it down and everything. And he actually had a shot. I was just like, what? This is amazing. But I mean, even when he took the shot, I thought, our keeper's going to say that. It's near post. It's easy. But he beat him. It was a really, really good finish. And just completely against the run of play, Sheffield United must have been absolutely gutted, because when they got it to 1-1, they thought, oh, we probably won't even have to get to extra time. We could probably beat these mugs in the next 2 minutes, because the way they're falling apart at the back at the moment, they're throwing themselves all over the place. But yeah, just totally out of the blue. But really good play from Eddie and Saka in the build-up. The kids at Arsenal at the moment are fantastic. I'm glad Ceballos got a goal. Happy for him. I still think he's way overrated and not worth 40 million quid, and Real Madrid, you could fucking have him back and then sell him to Real Betis, because that's probably his level. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we're not Real Betis level either at the moment, but I want to be above that. So bye-bye, Danny, as far as I'm concerned. But look, if you want to create yourself a little bit of Arsenal history, great. He's got the goal. He's got us into the semi-finals. Very happy with that. Just relieved we got through the game, no extra time. We seriously needed some luck. It was good build-up. The ball broke to him in a nice way, and it's a great finish.
I love the ambition, Josh. You see the way Saka plays. He plays with ambition. Eddie, to be fair, I think we can really see in the last couple of games that Eddie's development since he's come back to us. I know he's nowhere near the finished article. Okay, but he played a full part in that. Pepe held on to it, and then the ambition from Ceballos. That I love. Having a go, not being scared to take responsibility. And I thought the team did that well, because the equaliser was a shock, wasn't it?
Definitely. It was I think, as we kind of said, it wasn't necessarily against the run of play, but it was a goal of our own misdoing. But then to go up the other side, because they were attacking us heavily at that point. I think that goal comes from their corner, doesn't it? It's a counter from there. And I think that's the kind of thing that being a bit more defensively stable, or at least having, we've seen Mustafi and Holding do, you wouldn't say they had a bad game against Brighton, didn't necessarily have a bad game against Sheffield United, Southampton as well. When we've seen Holding and Mustafi come in, they've done good things, and that confidence breathes through the team. And then you see our deeper midfielders run beyond the ball, or at least break into the box, because they know I'm not necessarily needed for numbers behind me, because, I don't know, David Luiz is going to shit himself and the ball's going to go into the top corner. So yeah, I really enjoyed that kind of. You could kind of tell. I don't know, because at that moment, I was busy talking to someone in the room, and I was like, "Oh, hang on," and they're like, "What?" And this is at like 90, even 89th minute, where the break starts, and I'm like, "I'm pretty sure something's coming on here. We're gonna score." I think it's Xhaka that plays that ball out to Pepe to start him on the run, and then, to be honest, because it's a 1-2, isn't it? Off Eddie. Is this the one where then he plays it back to Pepe? Or was that a different one where he messes it up?
That's a different one. It was
different one.
It went out to, I think Pepe picked it up from a Xhaka pass, and just as he's come to like halfway, he fires it across to Saka, who then into Eddie, and then Eddie picks out Pepe, who's kept his run going. He's kept charging into the box.
That's the one that I thought, to be honest, Pepe should have, knocked it in front of him and just continued sprinting, and thought he could take the keeper on there and just bury it into the bottom right corner. But to see Ceballos coming through eventually, because as you say, you think the move's kind of broken. Especially when Pepe kind of stumbles over it, because you were hoping on that recovery, he's just going to knock it out, give him a bit of space, and just curl it again into the far corner like we saw versus Brighton. But it was an unusual finish, shall I say, from Ceballos, because again, I would have put all my eggs in the basket of him just giving the keeper the eyes and just dinking it over him. That's what I saw him doing. He seems like that kind of player.
Yeah.
That kind of one that the only goal he scores is just cheeky little chips. But yeah, just to slide it down the keeper and beat him at the near posts. I think it was no less than what we deserved, to be honest. And it's great to see we're getting goals from our midfield as well. To see a midfielder put it in, irrespective of how you feel about him, to have a midfielder making that kind of run into the box, picking it up and just smashing it in. Yeah, this is what we want to see.
It's this thing, isn't it? People think we favour certain players. We do on performance. It's all about performance and ambition. Yeah, I'm not going to slag a player off who's having a go, and failing and having a go. I'll give him a bit of respect, but and fair play to Ceballos. That's a ballsy thing. Yeah, it's a ballsy move at the end of a game when we've been on the back foot for much of the second half. So that's the game, lads. 8, we're through. That's all that mattered. It's not the prettiest, but football is strange at the moment. I don't think any of us can, comprehend kind of what is going on with everything. The stadiums are empty.
It felt like a proper FA Cup game, though, didn't it? Like, we get a penalty, we score from that, the game's going okay, it gets to half-time. The underdog team, I know we've been crap, but Sheffield United are still seen as the underdog team, get way back into it, they're on top, they get a goal, it's all the pressure, and then bam, counter punch, and we get them and get the late winner. That felt like a proper FA Cup game, although there was, no fans in the stadium.
It did. I mean, we're lacking the fluidity of a joined-up season, aren't we? That's the big problem. And when you look at where furlough kicked in, we were on a decent run at that point, weren't we? But hey, look, we are where we are. Through to the semi-final. And the next question is, so I'm going to go to you for this, John. Bros No Hose asks, can we win the FA Cup? A great start to the 2020s if we do after all our troubles.
Oh,
I love this. I missed it so much. I missed it.
I'm going to be honest and say no. I really wish we could, but I don't think we can. No, honestly, I just think you've got Man City still left in it. Who you got? City, United, Chelsea, Newcastle. I can't remember who else is in. Is that it?
United.
Yeah,
United. Sorry, I zoned out. I
Yeah.
can go through everyone that's left if you want.
Go through who's
So
left.
it's United, us, and then Chelsea are playing Leicester at the moment. And then Newcastle play City this evening.
Yeah, so the draw is at half-time in the Newcastle City game for some reason. I have no idea why. Weird scheduling thing. Look, if we get, let's say Newcastle pull off a miracle and we get Newcastle in the next round, maybe. On any given day, if we're at it, then I think we could probably beat every team who's left in it, bar City, maybe Chelsea. I don't know.
I got no problems playing Chelsea. To be fair, I got the only concern for me is City. This isn't the team we beat in the semis. Going to play Chelsea in that final, but
it's not impossible. And obviously, on that day, you can get the result. No fans, all that kind of thing. It's very strange. So it's all up in the air. My heart says we can win it. My head says we've got no fucking chance and the season's done. Just enjoy it, ride it out.
I got to be able to say, I say we can win it, okay? But you wouldn't catch me putting any fucking money in it. Not a chance, okay? Not a chance. Josh, this one's for you. Junior Gunn asks, there is an argument to suggest that Arteta doesn't set us up well to control games or to impose ourselves or our strengths on other teams. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it depends on, I say who we're playing. Our strength is in attack-ish. We've got Aubameyang, we've got Pepe, we've got Saka, but we haven't really got a midfield that can kind of give them the ammunition they need to then create. So I don't want to put all the blame on the midfield, but it is a big problem of ours because it affects you in both going forward and going backwards in the game. I think our defense is okay. We've seen, it's not a title-winning defense, but I think we all agreed we're not at that level. And to be fair, we weren't at that level even when Wenger left. The defense has always been a problem. So I don't know. I think Arteta is slowly learning. I think that's why I saw with the 3-5-3 that he set up with today was him taking some more learnings. I think he's a very tactically astute manager, but he's just putting all of his learnings into kind of practice now. And whilst the team's growing, he's growing as well.
But it's matching up your ambition with your tools, isn't it? You're the players you've got available. This is the ambition that he wants to play with, but has he got the players to play the football he wants at the moment?
I don't understand this argument. So I saw people on Twitter during the second half saying, "Oh, Arteta do something. We're losing control of the ball and everything else," which is true. We were, and Sheffield United were on top of us, and that was partly down to their good play, and they're very well organised, and they know their system in and out. They all know what they're doing. But look at his bench options. He's got nothing. He's got absolutely nothing to work with. And like Josh said, it's not all on the midfield, but that is a huge problem. And we've got no midfield that can keep the ball realistically for a long period of time and keep the tempo and just ping it around and keep passive. And sometimes you just need to take the sting out of the game for 5-10 minutes. Just keep the ball, keep possession. You might not be making chances, but just pass it around the team. We used to be able to do that when we had, a Cazorla or a Ramsey and those kind of players, but we haven't got that in the squad right now. So you've got to be patient with Arteta because he hasn't got those kind of players.
No, I mean, look through the subs bench. I don't think we've really mentioned that fully other than the players that came on. But as you say, John, at that time where we're losing control of the game, 54 minutes in, we've already played. Rob Holding's come off the bench, so we've got 4 subs we can make. And you're looking at Bellerin, Sokratis, Ceballos, Aubameyang, Nelson, Nketiah, Macy, and the kid Smith.
None of them are going to come on and dictate the tempo in a game, are they?
No, Ceballos is the only one from there that has it in his locker to do it, but also kind of needs a bit of steel next to him to allow him to do that. If we have someone, say, like Lucas Torreira there, who's going to do the defensive work for him, and those players do exactly what we want in terms of keep control of the ball, can be a bit more expressive and play those passes that, draw defenders to them to then just play the ball past and keep that tempo going. At the moment, the only way we're doing that and taking a sting out of a game is playing the ball along the back, because that's where our best ball playing players are at the moment. They're not in the midfield. And have you seen a team try and play and keep possession with the front 3? That's not how football works, really.
The thing I always find I find frustrating as well is, let alone technical ability, we don't have that physical, athletic ability either to stretch the game. We're very one-paced. Xhaka, Guendouzi, Ceballos, etc. There's zero pace in there. You match those guys up with some like KDB, and you got a proper athlete in KDB.
We did see some of that from Xhaka today. He was holding his man off to get through the midfield.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit of it, but to be honest, again, don't you say that's not his game?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be relying on Xhaka to knock the ball forward. And
Willock has that athleticism and Maitland-Niles does, and there's an argument maybe you could have put Maitland-Niles inside in the midfield to make a bit more solid across the defence. But those two players, Willock and Maitland-Niles in particular, technically proficient, but they're not going to keep the ball nice and tight, passing, that kind of thing. They're more can run all day, box to box kind of players' energy. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not sure. I think AMN's got the ability to do it. Whether he's got the top 2 inches to do it is a different question. You know,
I think that's the difference. I wouldn't necessarily trust them to do it.
Yeah,
at the moment in their career. Yeah,
and that's the thing. You know, you look at AMN; he's so laid back, okay, but he's got the physical, athletic attributes. He's got the technical ability. I don't understand. Obviously, something's happened this season. Okay, we don't know what it is, but when you look at some of the shit that's been put out by our midfield, I don't understand how he hasn't had a go. But that's for Mikel Arteta to look at. You know, I'd love to see all these homegrown kids develop and do well for us. You know, Willock, he's a prospect, but, you know, they need a little bit of time, and sooner or later they'll get it, and we'll go forward. Let's move on then, because we've been gone an hour or so we're going to wrap this up. David Keith says, "Hi lads, brilliant to see you all and realise you're all well. Lockdown in Lanzarote, if you don't cry for me." He was quite nice here last week as well, to be fair, so we can't moan. He says, "I thought Tierney was brilliant today. Do you think he could be a future captain if he keeps fit?" I'll answer that, yes. I think he's got the attribute, he's got the attitude, he's got the footballing intelligence. It would be nice if we get a couple of players like that, you know, leaders down the spine of the team.
Humble players. Humble. He's very humble.
Yeah, he's got a proper head in his shoulders, isn't he? It's about. I remember talking to Neil Chimp, and Neil Chimp would talk about Arteta or Ramsey. And sorry, I keep on bringing him up, but these are Neil's words, not mine. And Neil say that's all they care about is becoming better footballers. You know, that's all they care about. They work day and night to be better footballers. You can't say that for everybody in our team. And that's an issue. I think you can say that about Kieran Tierney. And I think you can say that with a lot of confidence. So, yeah, absolutely agree with you, David. John, on to you. Arteta's comment on Pepe. He is a player with incredible potential, but he needs to be decisive in every game.
Yeah, it's what we said. That is obviously via our friend Scoop Collins. If you're not following Simon Collins, he's great on Twitter. He's obviously getting to go to the games as well at the moment, the Git. He still has perfectly coiffed hair despite the face mask as well. But yeah, he's always got good tune news for you and little scoops every now and again. But yeah, that's all we want to see with him. It's just sometimes, like Josh said, he can be in a game where he might score the winner, or he might score the second goal or the third goal in a win or something like that. But just sometimes, just get the ball and just do some magic, because you know he can do it. But that's like I said when we signed him. Wait until his second season, and then you can properly assess him.
The ability's there, no doubt, isn't it? It's just getting him mentally right to the way we wanted to play. Mr. Dorr. David Keith asks, "Were you happy with Maitland-Niles today? I think he works well with Pepe. Thank God for VAR."
Was I happy with Maitland-Niles? Yeah, I think he put in a decent performance. Some of his passes were like standard Maitland-Niles traits, where you know he's just a bit lazy, just a lazy, lackadaisical pass. And I think we can get him playing right wing. In that regard, I still don't think he's a midfielder. I still don't think he can play centrally. I don't think he's good enough.
I'd love to see you have a run there, see. And you may be right. Okay, you may be on the money, but I think his physical ability, his athletic ability, I'd like to see him have a go. What about you, John? Do you think would you like to see him have a go?
Yeah, I think he's a great utility player. the thing that I would say, like I do agree with Josh. I think if you got an opportunity to give him a run in midfield, I think it's only going to make him a better player. And what he kind of reminds me of, the fact he can play so many positions, he's like a faster James Milner. In that sense, you know how like everyone sort of always said, "Oh, James Milner, he's not all that. He went from this team to that team." But you look at his medals and his trophies and all the clubs he played for, and actually go, "Oh, you know what? That bloke I didn't rate that much. He was kind of quiet and a bit boring. Actually, he's really fucking good at football and just Mr. Consistent." If Maitland-Niles can get to that, perfect. I'd keep him and I wouldn't sell him at all.
James Milner is world class at being average. that is James Milner in a nutshell.
But
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying he is world class at being average.
But my point is, I don't think his performances ever are average. I think he can be functional at times when he's asked to play in a position he's not good at. But I think if you look at his performances, they're always he's always 7.5, 8 out of 10. Always. And
which
he's not
talking about?
You're not going to watch James Milner, Rabona and fucking pirouette on the ball and nutmeg people, and especially not now. He's a lot older, but you never saw that early in his career. And I'm not expecting that from Maitland-Niles either. I'm sure he probably thinks he can do it, and maybe he can because he's still young enough. But just be Mr. Consistent. Just do it. Just make yourself invaluable to the squad. It might not be the career you want, but it might actually give you a much better career, whether it's with Arsenal or another team. But I think he's got that ability to be that player who can join a squad and the manager goes, you know what, I can rely on this guy. I can ask him to play whatever position I want on the pitch and he's going to give me that consistent performance.
I think after a couple of years, we'll see Maitland-Niles maybe move into the middle. But at his age, is he 22 at the moment? To be honest, I can see him being a winger until he's into his mid to late 20s and then come inside when his legs go. But at the moment, he's quick enough that he should be on the wing.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that pace in the middle. I've got to be honest here. I'd love to see that athleticism. I know he hasn't got the same attitude or skill level as KDB, but there's something about him physically which kind of reminds me of him. And he's got enough technical ability to do well there. But whether he can or can't, we'll have to wait and see. I think this one's a bit of a fun question to end it all on, okay? And it's going to tick the annoying people box as well. So the last question, I want everybody's opinion on this. Stu Fluffers asks, would you take Aaron Ramsey back in a swap deal for Mesut Ozil if it was a net zero cost to the club? Just spitballing here. Thanks for your work, guys. Stu, thank you very much. Josh, you first.
Juventus aren't stupid enough.
We spoke about this week.
Juventus aren't stupid enough. Let's put it that way. But would I take Aaron Ramsey back? No. His time at Arsenal was great. But you don't pine about... I wouldn't pine for Aaron Ramsey. I can't remember how I put it to you, Jace. I think I said it was something like, it's like that ex. You remember all the good times, but then actually when you think about it, you remember how many times you're like, oh, actually, he was injured all the fucking time, wasn't he? Only turned up for like 30 games a season.
You say that, okay? 330 plus games for the Arsenal. He's the top 50 performances ever, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, the injuries are there. You can't get away from it. You can't get away from them. And
they're only going to get worse as he gets older. And to be honest, he didn't turn up a lot at Juventus in terms of not on the field. On the field, Jace, you'll argue he definitely played well. But how many times was he available for Sarri in his squad? Not that often. He was carrying a lot of injuries.
He carried that injury in that season, okay? And he can't get away from that.
Yeah.
But when you look at Juventus and only played 28 league games, I think, there's a lot of people using stats to form their own opinion on it, and that's fine, okay? I think for us, the most important thing is it's for this team now, let alone Rambo, okay? But for this team, would you do it? It's a bit of fun, that's all.
No, I wouldn't do it.
Easy answer to this. I would do the swap immediately because it means Mesut Ozil's gone and I can stop hearing people talk about him. And I can stop having all the fanboys in my Twitter going, you don't understand how good I understand how good a fucking footballer he is. He just can't be bothered to do anything, the lazy fuck. But then what I would do is the moment Ramsey comes in, I'd go, oi, Newcastle, you got loads of money. This is a very experienced Premier League footballer we've got right here. You want to get him in your squad and develop. Oh, yeah, okay. Ching, loads of money. Ramsey goes, oh, hang on a minute. I'm not sure. You go, Rambo, you're going to get loved by everyone in Newcastle. This is the only team. Geordie's going to love you. And you go, you know what? That's not a bad little retirement. Yeah, I'll do that. And then get back as a coach because he's good mates with Arteta. So, yeah, simple. We make money and we fuck off Ozil. Easy.
It's a bit of fun, isn't it? It's a bit of fun. That's it. That's it for today, guys. We're through to the next round of the FA Cup. We've beaten Sheffield United for the first time this season. Fuck, I never thought I'd say those words. Never thought. We played them 3 times and we got a loss, a draw, and a win. Oh, shit. But more importantly, John, I got a podcast with you again.
It's been lovely to be back. I didn't forget how to do it. Well, I hope I didn't anyway. People in the chat box have been very nice to me. I hope you've not been nice just for the sake of it and actually made some sense. But yeah, I will try to be on more often. At the moment, Sundays is kind of my only day I can be available. But once all this, global pandemic thing calms down, maybe we'll get that contract taken out or like a cure or something. Then I might be able to have a life again.
God, it's just been such a strange time. I'm sorry, I've got to pick us up. Julian Salmon, Ramsey is Ox Mark 2, just not consistent enough and too injury prone. When you're in the top 50 of players to represent the club with appearances, you're the leading goal scorer from midfield. I'm not sure you can comment on consistency. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
He's right though, because Ox left Arsenal and he won a league title as well, just like Ramsey. Yeah. So yeah, they're very similar.
So they've gone on to win
with very little input into that title winning season as well.
Oh, I tell you, he's still got more goals than our midfield. Both of them, I think both of them have got more goals than our midfield. Josh, brilliant to chat to you again.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be with John. Not with you, Jason.
Thanks, love you for that. I need to get some Crunal's contact details for a bag of dicks, don't I? Right, guys, that's it. Yeah, look, we're through to the semi-final of the FA Cup. We'll find out who we play later. On Thursday, Josh is joined by Nicky Wilson and Ellis Mell in the Nodge special. For the live game, we're going to do our lineups for the rest of the season as they come along. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. A bit of tappy wouldn't go amiss. How many likes we got? 56. Oh, shit.
It's all right, guys. I can give them the technical spiel. See, because the YouTube algorithm is more likely to show our show to other viewers. It's not done on view counts, it's done on likes. So if you hit the like button, we're more likely to be found by other people, which means if there's more people viewing, you can have better arguments with strangers in the chat box. It's win-win.
So stop being idiots. Stop being arseholes. Start tapping, and let's get this going. Thank you. Take care. Good night. Keep it Arsenal. Have a ball. Take care all. Da-da.